and Wellness team, and once again we are definitely glad that you are here to join us for this afternoon's presentation. So I would like to go, if you're kind of getting settled and everything, and introduce our speaker for today's activity. That's if I am able to see. Lighting. Anyway, okay. An award-winning international personality in the field of therapeutic humor and laughter, Steve Wilson's work as a clinical psychologist crystallized his thinking about the relationships between humor and mental wellness. Now retired from the practice of psychotherapy, Steve continues to intertwine substance and humor in ways you never imagined. President of the World Laughter Tour, an organization that promotes health, happiness, and world peace through laughter, he innovated the popular program, How to Create Therapeutic Laughter. His Laughter Circle programs are used by thousands of people at work, in schools, hospitals, healthcare, treatment support groups, nursing homes, and more. One of America's top-rated speakers, he has earned the designation of Certified Speaking Professional from the National Speakers Association. He serves on the advisory committee of the Mental Health, Addictions, Development Disabilities Training Program at Columbus, Ohio State Community College, where he is the honoree of the Stephen H. Wilson Scholarship Fund. As an internationally acclaimed advocate for the benefits of laughter, he received the 2007 Golden Laughter Award, Rire d'Or, from the French School of Laughter. He is the director of National Humor Month and 2010 recipient of the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Welcome to
Steve
the audio
will present
conferencing
reflections,
center.
perspective,
enter.
and a practical framework for how laughter and humor enhance health and happiness. Steve and his wife Pam are the joyful grandparents of the 10 smartest, funniest, most beautiful children in North America. All boys except for 6. Please give a warm welcome for Steve Wilson.
Stand by here. That was the nicest introduction I've ever written. Come here.
Whoa.
Okay, because I have a gift for you. Patrice, let's get out of the spotlight over here. Patrice is a graduate of the World Laughter Tour basic course of therapeutic laughter. Laughter therapist. We ran a workshop here, sponsored by OLLI, the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, in January.
Weathered the storm for that.
We did, and almost again today. So I don't, that's right. But we're coming back next January. They've invited us back, so you'll get a little taste of what it's about, and maybe you'd like to join us for that. But I always have a gift for the person that introduces me because it's nerve-wracking just to get up in front of a group and speak. How many of you would get nervous if you had to get up now in front and speak? Everybody would. So they say that the human brain is the most remarkable organ. It doesn't, it starts to function the moment that you're born and doesn't stop until you get up to speak in public. So for your good job on introducing and putting this all together, this is guaranteed to put a smile on your face. Works like that. That's for you. Wait, don't go wait, because we're going to get a picture of that. Put you right up on the internet.
Oh.
Oh yeah. We're very modern here. Here we go. One. You don't even have to really be smiling.
I know, but I can't help it.
There you go. Give Patrice a big hand. Oh, and while I'm at it, let me take pictures of everybody here. Wave. We wave on this side. Can you hear me down there on that end? Can you hear okay? You hear me? Okay, right in the middle. Let's get folks in the middle. Here we go. Whoop, camera. Wait a second. I'm done. Here we go. Thank you. Good. Can you hear me at the far end down there? Can you hear? There. Okay. Good. I wanted to get those because I've got a lot of friends back in Columbus, Ohio, who didn't believe this many people would come out to hear me speak. So I want to have the evidence, have the proof. I don't get too nervous about speaking because I came across a study about audience attention span, and it said that at any given time during a talk or a lecture, only 10% of the audience is actually paying attention to the speaker, and 22 1/3% are thinking about a personal problem, and 66 2/3% are having a sexual fantasy. I figure that no matter what I say to you here today, 2/3 of you are going to enjoy yourself. I've gotten off the hook for that. There you go. I think some people started already. Okay. Now I wanted to introduce, because it's a special day for my wife and I. Pam is back there in the bright blouse, and always bright and cheerful. And it's our anniversary. We've been married 11,122 days. Today, that's the actual count. Thank you. We decided to count every day as a reminder that we need to learn to make every day count. And we don't know how many years we have. Nobody knows. They say everybody's days are numbered. The problem is you don't know what your number is. If you woke up this morning, maybe you heard that Maya Angelou passed away. So there you go. And, who knows? I hope we're all here to 120 years, but that's a tradition in our family. But you don't know. And we do that from very sad experiences individually before we ever met each other. And we decided when we got together, we're not going to wait and count the years. We're going to count the days. We're going to make every day count. And there you all already have, there's a tip for stress resistance. Right away, is to make every day count. What are you going to do today to make every day count? Now, I'll give you some tips. Pam likes me to share these when I go out and speak. These work for us and our relationship, our marriage. Maybe they would work for you. I don't know, but for what it's worth. First of all, I don't try to run her life. And I don't try to run mine either. And that works out really well. And then in stress-filled times, you've got to take time to relax. Twice a week. A little music. We go out to dinner. A good dinner, music, bottle of wine, stuff like that. She goes Tuesday, I go Friday. But that's helpful. I hope you get writing all these things down. You'll get that. By the way, there's another study, you might have heard about this, that showed that ugly strikes 1 out of 3. So you look at the person on your right and look at the person on your left, and if they look pretty good, okay. I've tried to pack. No pointing. Which is also one of the rules about, to have a good sex life, you got to have a great sense of humor. There's no laughing in the bedroom except, no laughing and no pointing and laughing. And let me no pointing and laughing. That would be good. Okay. How many of you work with goals and objectives? By show of hands. How many of you, if you don't believe in audience participation, would you raise your hand? Oh, never mind. Okay. Okay. How many of you don't work with goals and objectives? You're just winging it. You don't know what the heck's going on. Okay, some people are doing that. Now I'm going to try the remote and see if we can change the slide. Jason was here to help us out. Oh, Jason's here watching all this. Okay, Jason, here we go. The big reveal. the next big reveal.
You probably need to be closer to the projector.
Closer to the projector. Under here, over there.
Where's Jason?
Okay, Jason. We will now go to the mouse. Can we use the mouse for this? Got it? Okay, got 4 goals for the program for today. One is to focus on stress and what it is and what it isn't, to understand how you can deal with it in some ways that you may not have thought of, that are evidence-based, that really work, but they're a little bit different. Almost everybody's had a course in stress management, but I like talking about stress resistance. I think that's very interesting and very important, so we're going to understand what that is. And we have a chance to nurture each other. Whenever we're in a group together, we have a chance to be kind to each other. We have a chance to be encouraging to each other. We have a chance to be uplifting to each other. And I think that's an obligation that we have. I think human beings ought to be doing that. We need each other to inspire and encourage and lift each other up. And the 4th goal is to have fun. Can you see that? And so I have found that you can accomplish very worthy goals and have fun doing it. And so that's what we're going to do here today. Let me encourage anybody who is not facing a screen to turn your chair around now. Take a moment, please. Turn your chair and be comfortable. We're going to be talking together for an hour, and I don't want you, craning your neck. Turn around. Make yourself comfortable. Comfort. Number one important thing for you in your life. We're going to be talking about some Hello? Okay, now we're halfway through.
I didn't know it was working, so.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Glad that you stood by. Let's hear it for Jason. Cannot do without these people who show us how the technology works. So I'm going to be suggesting some things that you would consider as a change in lifestyle changes, and to get a sense of what that might be like. And also, you'll just see you're having a temporary, maybe long-term temporary change in your style here because of all the construction and things that are going on. And I will tell you a tip that I learned because I've worked with hospitals undergoing construction specifically on how do we deal with the stress and manage that and get through all this. But here's what I'd like you to do first is fold your hands like this, just like your kids in school. Clasp your hands together and look down and see which thumb is on top. Now, if your left thumb is on top, you are a thinker. If your right thumb is on top, you are a lover. If your thumbs are side by side, you think you're a lover. All right, whichever thumb is on top, unclasp your hands and clasp them now so that the other thumb is on top. Okay?
I don't like that.
Right, immediately, what did you say?
I don't like
I don't like that. This is awkward. This is uncomfortable. Well, you just made a change. You just made a lifestyle change, an immediate reaction to change, which is, and it's interesting, the change is the only constant that we know in life is change. But yet, when we make a change, sometimes at first it feels awkward. It's different. And we just can't wait. Could we please go back and do it the other way? It's so much more familiar. It's so much easier. And yet, if you stayed with it and were mindful of how you were clasping your hands and did that over and over and over again, eventually you would make that change. That would be a lifestyle change. And it would be familiar and it would be comfortable. So we're already anticipating that. We know. So things don't go well right away with change, and it doesn't always feel good. Let's see. Oh, wait. Let me get the remote. Who in most families, which gender person has the remote in their hand? Typically, yes, it might be, but typically, it's a man. And Jerry Seinfeld explained that. He said that men don't want to know what's on television. We want to know what else is on television. And we sit and watch, and Pam is going, wait, what was that? Go back. Okay. So I got interested in all of this because I was doing psychotherapy. I had a very thriving practice, a general practice of psychotherapy and counseling, treating a lot of people who had stress-related issues, and a lot of them were job stress-related. And I became fascinated by the concept that we have in this country. I don't know about other countries, but we have a thing called the Mental Health Day. How many of you have ever thought about taking a mental health day? So show of hands. Okay. How about a mental health week? Whole time, right. So what is mental health? I found this ticket for a mental health day. And the advice for a mental health day is play hooky. Don't go in. And this concerned me. I thought, well, what are we doing to people at work? And I saw this, from my dad and all the years that he worked with lots of people. I've been in lots of workplaces. What is it that's going on that we have to have a day when we don't go in because it's better for our mental health not to be there? And what if, this was my curiosity, we could come up with some ideas, things that we could do so that actually going to work would be good for your mental health. Imagine if you were better off for that, and at the end of your career in a certain job, you would be able to say, that was the best job I could have had. And I loved being there, and I was there, and I was on the job, and I was able to stay there and be productive. If you're standing on the bank of a river, this is my thought about all the people I was treating. You're standing on the bank of the river, and somebody comes down in the river, and they're flailing around, and it looks like they're drowning. You would do, the logical thing would be to reach in and pull them out. Now, if you're standing there on the riverbank and somebody else comes down, you reach in and you pull them out. And if somebody else comes down, you reach in and you pull them out. At some point, wouldn't you get the idea of going upstream and find out who's throwing them in? And that's the difference between treatment and prevention. And that's what we're talking about here is prevention. So the ideas that I packed into this hour that we have together are to strengthen you, so it's going to be very hard if you do some of the things that we talk about today. It's going to be very hard for anybody to throw you in that river. And don't get in there in the first place. So how many of you do experience stress on the job? Show of hands, stress on the job. Sure. But how many of you think it's actually part of the job description? How many of you are too stressed to raise your hand? There's a few. Okay. Here's some. I like these pictures about stress. There are some people that don't get stress. They give it. They're called carriers. We're not going to take it down. So I did some research, and I was looking at ways to deal with stress. And I wrote a book that has 271 ways, little stress reduction techniques. It's called CHILL. Okay? And it says, instead of a midlife crisis, why not give yourself a complex? And complex is CALM-PLEX, a complex. So Patrice liked this idea, and Gerald liked this idea, and they said, let's give away some of the books. So there are autographed copies of this book. Patrice, how do people find out if they want a book?
Look under your chair to see if you have one of our Living Well Health Promotion tickets.
You find a ticket under your chair, you won the book.
If you got a ticket, I want you to laugh.
And Patrice is coming around, you got an autographed copy of Chill.
I think mine fell off.
Oh, yours fell off? Oh. Okay. And Patrice, who's got one? Here's one. Got one over here.
Mine fell off. Oh, okay.
You didn't get it right now. Check all the chairs.
Probably there. Oh, this fell off too.
They all fell off each other.
Now, one of the techniques that's not in the book, this, so I'm going to put this on the screen. You may have seen this. It's been going around. Stress management technique. You won't find this in the book. So you can see it's simple instructions. Now, I think we can do better than that, and that's largely what we're going to be talking about today, is doing better than that. And I'm fascinated by some things that have some research that this fellow is doing about being happy at work, happiness at work. We'll watch a quick movie.
What if you could improve your productivity by 30% without sacrificing your happiness? What if it turned out that becoming happier was actually the key? After spending over a dozen years at Harvard University, I wanted to test the latest scientific theories of happiness and performance in the business world, outside of the lab and the ivory tower. Over the past 2 years, I've traveled to speak and research in 42 different countries. And amazingly, what I found at almost all of these schools and companies is that they follow the same formula. And that formula is, if you work harder, then you'll be more successful. And if you're successful, then you'll be happier. What we're finding in the field of positive psychology is that this formula is broken. Part of that has to do with how we define success. Every time we're successful, we merely move the goalpost of what success looks like. So for example, if we hit our sales target last quarter, we merely change what that sales target is for the next quarter. And if happiness is on the opposite side of that success, every time you change what success looks like, happiness gets pushed over the horizon. More importantly, what we've discovered in the field of positive psychology is that the formula is actually backwards. Our brains work in the opposite way. Happiness actually fuels success, not the other way around. If you can find a way to get your brain to become positive, your success rates will increase, and as a result, work will become more productive, enjoyable, and rewarding. So if we can change the formula, if we can reverse it, then we can maximize our brain's potential and our performance will increase dramatically. Not to mention the fact we'll be happier right now in the present. I can imagine you might be skeptical about all of this. Could happiness really make a difference to our work? Well, the research shows that it actually does. Let me explain.
That's Sean Acker, and I commend his book to you, The Happiness Advantage, and study his work. We've been getting it wrong, and we thought if we'd be successful, we'd be happy, but now we know if we come happy and can have positive outlooks, we're going to be more successful. So what we know is, let's see if we can get past this. Hello, next. There we go. People do best in positive work environments. Happy employees are healthier employees, tend to be, and they're on the job being productive. I asked a hospital administrator, said, how many people work here? He said, about half. I was talking to people, and you guys were coming in, I said, how long have you been working here? Somebody said, well, ever since they threatened to fire me if I didn't start working. Okay. One fellow said he didn't go to work because he had eye trouble. I said, what was that? He said, I just can't see going in. So we need you on the job. We need you to be productive. We want you to feel successful. And we need to bridge anything that goes on between home and work by sending you home from work in a better state of mind than you were if you hadn't come here. And vice versa, to do some things at home so that you come into work ready to go. And how do we get those attitudes? We're going to talk about that. When you laugh, and even when you just smile, your brain chemistry changes. So here's one of the things that we know. negative emotions. Here's a list of what we might call negative emotions. These interfere with healing, and they can promote illness. If you have any of these feelings too intensely or for too long, you've got some problems because your brain chemistry is changing, and when you've got this stuff going on, you're pouring out neurotransmitters and hormones, and you're pouring out cortisol and adrenaline, and all that interferes with healing. Would you rather have a patient, let's look at this next one, because positive emotions, here's a list of positive emotions, promote health and healing. How do we incorporate that into the plan of care for patients? How do we incorporate that into our department? And then keep that in mind as a priority in where we work with the people we work with. Let me see where we're going here. One of the things that happened, some scientists have studied the differences in autopsy differences in soldiers who died in Vietnam. And they compared the thymus gland, which is important in the production of immune agents in your bloodstream. And soldiers who died suddenly and unexpectedly had normal thymus glands, and soldiers who died after prolonged stress, the thymus gland was smaller and it was harder, it was not as palpable. And so the physical structure of the thymus gland could be changed by long periods of stress, and then your immune system is weakened. Now, Dr. John Diamond said, here's what you do. Maybe you got stress going on, maybe you can't joke and laugh about it, because when you laugh, that all goes away. When you laugh, the cortisol levels disappear, the dopamines come out, the pleasure chemicals come out, and you're in much better shape when you're in a good mood and you're in a positive attitude. But Dr. Diamond said maybe you can't get that right away, so you can do this. You can thump your thymus. If you're under stress, you can massage your thymus. You can thump it. Now, I said that's a great point to make. I want to teach people how to thump their thymus. And I want to show you where it's located, because I don't want you thumping the wrong thing when you're out in public. If you put your chin down on your chest, right where your chin touches, there's your thymus gland under the top of the breastbone. And Dr. Diamond said, if you tap it so you can hear it, just enough, and you go, about 20 or 30 seconds, brings a healthy flow of blood, brings a blood supply to your thymus gland, and you keep that part of your immune system working and functioning well. And what the big fancy term for what we've been talking about is psychoneuroimmunology. And one of the early pioneers in the field of psychoneuroimmunology is Dr. Lee Burke. He is now Director of Clinical Molecular Research Lab at Loma Linda University, and he's a friend of mine, and he's a colleague. And he's been involved with my laughter therapy program for almost 15 years. As on an advisory committee, a science advisory committee, so that make sure that we know what we're doing and what we're saying is right. So you get all of these things. If you need the actual citations and the scientific references, you can reach me after this program, and I'll get you everything. I'm not going to bother to put that in there right now. But I want to talk about a particular theory of stress. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe not. It's called the appraisal theory. The appraisal theory of stress says that in any given situation, we make two assessments. We ask two questions whenever anything is happening. We want to know what's at stake, what do I have to lose here, and can I handle it? What resources do I have to handle it? So imagine a memo comes out and says, anybody who isn't proficient in word processing within 90 days is going to be terminated. Now, somebody just said, did you see the memo? Did you get the memo? The memo is stressing me out. Oh my gosh, the memo. And my contention is it's not the memo that's stressing you out. It's the context in which you perceive the memo. If you have just finished filling out all the papers for retirement and you got 30 days left and you get that memo, Is that going to cause you stress? I don't think so. I'm out of here. I'm done. What if you get that memo and you already are proficient in word processing? You say, okay, good, no sweat, I got that. What if you don't know word processing, but you know that there's going to be a course offered, you know where you can learn it, and you feel like, I can do this, I can learn that. You're stressed, you're going to have some stress, but it's not going to be too high. Now, if you don't have confidence in yourself, and you feel like, oh, I'm so dumb about the computer, I don't know, can I learn it, what'll I do, and I got to have my job, now you see the stress levels building. Not because of the memo, but because you interpret it in the context of your life, your lifestyle, and you ask these two questions. You make this appraisal. So it's very important to ask the questions and get accurate answers. The coping style most associated with stress resistance is called transformational coping, an optimistic style of coping. So you reframe things because you can look at things in a way that they don't seem to be so terrible. I remember you just sort of reinterpret things. Saw a sign in the jewelry department of a department store that said, ears pierced while you wait. And I thought, how else could you do that? I'm going to leave them with you. I'll be back Tuesday. Okay. So there was a sign in a store window that I thought the manager put it up, and he meant it's serious because he wanted to do good business and he wanted to show good service to customers. But I thought it was humorous. Sign said, any faulty merchandise will be cheerfully replaced with merchandise of equal quality. So I don't need another broken blender. And even if you cultivate the ability, when things happen, they go wrong, there's setbacks, there's frustrations, you get thwarted, you get blocked from something you're trying to achieve, you got to look at all sides of it. And you may come to a side that's not as serious as some of the other sides. And that would be very important to be able to do. It doesn't fix everything, but it helps you stay healthier and gives you the attitude that you can deal with this. I can cope with this. I don't need to succumb to stress from it. So let's take a look at how humor could be helpful even in heavy stressful situations. Here's a sign after a tornado. Extreme Makeover, Tornado Edition. Now that is not going to fix the house. That is not going to, take care of everything. But it's a little bit lighter attitude, and it's a little bit of balance, and so that you can deal with the insurance company and keep moving on. How about, here's another one. They didn't expect it to be a waterfront, but it is now. I like this one. Need electricity, need more wine, need cute firemen. So people, even in dire circumstances, there's been a lot of research on people in catastrophes and these tough situations, and some do better than others, and some manage to keep their sense of humor. How about this as a gravestone? Barbara Sue Menayer, and you can see that she put a parking meter on her headstone, and it said, there's a close-up, 64-year time limit, and time expired. So even, some people are doing that. Some people stay healthy even under stress. There used to be a lot of talk about type A personality, people who are hard-driven, time urgency, and the early research said those type A personalities, they're going to have heart attacks. They're more prone to heart attacks and they're going to die. But it turns out that there are some people within the cohort of type A personalities who don't get sick. And Dr. Kobasa said that they were hardy or stress resistant. And a few other scientists studied this. And this is where we came up with the idea of stress-resistant personalities. These people are healthy. They have several things in common. I'm going to tell you what they are because there's some things that you can control. There's some things that you can do something about, and you could create that stress resistance. So you're more likely to stay healthy even under those stressful circumstances. So Yeah, that was the old days. Yeah, not smoking cigars so much anymore, but I was relaxing. Okay, commitment. There are 3 C words: commitment, challenge, and control. We'll talk about those. Do you have a sense of commitment? Now, commitment means that the organization you work for has values, has standards, has things it believes in. And if you believe in them too, then that's going to help you to be stress resistant. That's going to help you when the going gets tough. You know why you're there. You know what you're doing. And I found this on your website. You know that? Have you seen your website? But it's like this is a value statement. This is what UTMB believes in, and what you're standing for. Now, if you agree with that and you see the organization lives up to it, that's important. Then that strengthens your stress resistance. Your values are consistent and congruent. You know why you're here. So when the going gets tough, you can hang in there. Challenge means that change in life is normal. We can deal with that. We can get used to that, and all of your talents are utilized. It's a terrible thing to be in the job and feel like you've got more to give and they don't use it. So that's part of what challenge means. If that's going on, you feel well utilized, and there's an opportunity for further professional development. You know, every once in a while, they'll buy you lunch and bring in somebody to speak. I talk about. So when that's going on, that's challenge. And if that's part of your work life and your being on the job here, that's going to strengthen your stress resistance. Control means that you're not a robot. Control means that you have some influence over how things are done. People ask for your opinion. People want to know what you think. You're closest to the work. You know more than anybody else what goes wrong, what goes right, what works, how to do things faster, easier, more effectively, and your opinion counts. You have some control over it. Exercise is part of every stress reduction, stress management, and stress resistance program, every well-being program. A moderate amount of exercises, don't have to be fanatical, but it's got to be consistent, and you got to work the joints and the muscles and the tissues, and get your heart rate up for a while, and you're going to be more stress resistant. BS, there's finally a BS at work that's good for you. The scientists discovered, they call it boss support. And boss support means that your boss, your supervisor, goes to bat for you to try to get you the resources and the materials that you need. That doesn't mean that they succeed all the time, because there's so many other factors at work, but it means that they try. And you know they're going to bat for you. So that's very important. You've got to have boss support. And then the other characteristic that all these people had in common who are stress resistant, FS, is family support. And not just that you come home and everybody says, we love you, you did a good job, but there's somebody in the family or somebody maybe outside the family that you adopt as a family member to be a mentor, to be somebody to help you out, to help you solve problems. Not just listen, but help you come up with solutions and better ways to take care of yourself and stay well. So that is, the research on stress resistance, and that's very different than stress management. These are things that you can check out, that you can have, and you can increase these in your life and work style, and you will stay healthier longer and be more successful. Now, we're talking about humor, so let's clear up a couple of misconceptions. You're not born with a sense of humor. You develop that over your lifetime. What you are born with, and this is fascinating to me, is the ability to laugh and smile. Laughing and smiling, the part of the central nervous system that controls that is mature at birth in human infants. And one of the ways that we know this, and that is so important to us, is that people who are born blind and deaf laugh. And they don't learn it by listening to other people or seeing other people do it. Your laughter is hardwired. It came with the territory. It's built in. Under the right circumstances. If you're sick and in pain, hard to laugh. If you're living in chaos, hard to laugh. If you're living in fear, if you're sad, I mean, it's hard to laugh. But if you're well fed and people hug you and love you and you're not in pain, you're an infant. The infant is going to laugh in the cradle. But you're not going to run over and say, gee, that kid's got a great sense of humor. Not because you put the baby in front of, Jimmy Fallon or something, whatever. It's because these neurotransmitters, these hormones, are bubbling up in the infant's brain when the conditions are right, and the giggling starts. It also works in the other direction. And when you laugh, even when you smile, you start to produce these chemicals. You don't need a reason to laugh. You can't always explain it. You may be laughing at something, and someone comes and says, what's so funny? You say, I don't know. But Steve Wilson said, I need to get some laughs every day, and I'm working on my quota. Let me get this in. I don't know. I can't always explain it. And you don't necessarily laugh because you feel good. When we study the physiology of laughter, what we discover is you probably feel good because you laugh. Because it affects heart rate and blood pressure in a positive way, and digestion and muscular relaxation and oxygenation of the bloodstream, and a dozen other things go on in your body when you laugh. Now, there is a kind of a laugh that comes when you don't feel good. Sometimes it's called nervous laughter. It's a high-pitched kind of a giggle. Give you an example. How fast did you say it was going, officer? Oh, you mean my Visa card is over the limit? Those reports were due today. So when you understand the physiology of laughter, you realize it's largely about the discharge of emotional tension. And so when you get a little nervous about something, you might giggle, and because your body is just instinctively trying to discharge the chemicals and all the things, the negative physiology that can come with that. You can take your work seriously, but take yourself lightly. Serious in a dictionary means to be responsible. It's not the same as being solemn. No one's asking you to be solemn. Be responsible about what your values, your beliefs, your goals, your job. But you got to lighten up about yourself, too. Have a sense of humor about that. So Psychology Today magazine did a study. They said, there's a lot of people having fun at work. What the heck's going on here? And is it any good for people to have fun at work? And so they looked at a lot of studies, and this was their conclusion. Don't let your dogged determination kill your sense of fun. An element of playfulness will make you more creative, more satisfied, and more productive, too. So I want to show you what an element of playfulness might look like. This is going to take 1 minute. I'm going to ask you to join in and with me, and we'll have some fun, and you'll get the benefits of an element of playfulness in 1 minute. If you feel like joining in right now, would you stand up right where you are? Okay. Want you to imagine that we're picking grapes. We're in a grape arbor, but the grapes are up over our heads. So we're going to reach up here for a bunch of grapes. Use your right hand. Let's start this way. Just reach up to a bunch of grapes and pull them off and put them down into an imaginary basket at your feet. There you go. And then reach a little higher and pull those off and put them down in the basket at your feet. And then stretch a little bit up there. Get those. Pull them off. Put them in the basket. You can go on the left side. Low ones right there. Pull them off. Put them in the basket. A little higher. Get those. Put them in the basket. A little higher. Pull those off. Put them in the basket. Now the logical thing to do is step in the basket and mash these grapes down. Turn around. All right. Turn around. Turn left and right and all around. Give yourselves a hand. You're good great hands. That took about a minute. How many of you, in your mind, while we were doing that, knew the color of the grape you were picking?
I did.
Okay. Because that was not part of the instruction. You did that on your own. How many of you were thinking about the end product? A lot of jelly lovers. Okay. How many of you might actually, the thought occurred to you about like stains on your feet? Yeah, stains on- How many were thinking of I Love Lucy? You did a lot of stuff in a minute that was not even part of the instructions. And when you did those things, when you had those thoughts, your brain was engaged in something called creativity. That is creativity. That is seeing what's going on and going further and associating to other things. And creativity is not just for artists and poets and musicians. We need it for planning and problem solving and decision making. If we aren't creative in those functions, we're just going to keep doing the same thing we've always done. And you know what that is. So we need to do things better, make improvements. Well, and you know, if there's a little bit of laughter, then your brain starts getting creative. People who study creativity know this. Then I heard all the giggling. You know, you guys are giggling. Nobody said laugh. And you're laughing. And it's wonderful because every time you giggle, it doesn't have to be raucous laughter. Your brain chemistry is changing. And these good neurotransmitters and hormones are getting into your bloodstream. And all kinds of benefits are happening to you in 1 minute. 1 minute of playfulness. Can you take a minute at work in your department and say, playfulness, we need a minute. We need a minute. Take grapes. Whatever it is. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And you get a tremendous benefit. So how can you, this is one of our laughter leaders doing laughter therapy, getting a lot of publicity for it. So how can you have a sense of humor? Maybe you're not very good at telling jokes, but you can look for what's called the unintended humor of reality. Reality is funny sometimes when you don't even realize it. So these are, I collect these, notices from church bulletin boards. So you go to church, a house of worship, and maybe feel like that's kind of a serious thing. But imagine if you looked on the bulletin board and you saw this. This afternoon there will be meetings in the north and south ends of the church. Children will be baptized at both ends. Or how about this? For those of you who have children and don't know it, we have a nursery downstairs. Might have a kid there. How about this one? This being Easter Sunday, we'll ask Mrs. Green to come forward and lay an egg on the altar. I go to church to see that. And this one, this afternoon, the Ladies' Liturgical Society will meet. Mrs. Johnson will sing, "Put Me in My Little Bed," accompanied by the Reverend. So it's all around. You know, you go to church, you might get a chance. Oh, and the thing is to not be critical. The thing is to not go in there and say, "Oh, well, look at that. They better say, put the comma in the wrong place." No, come on. You lighten up and you have a laugh and you get a tremendous amount of benefits from it. How about these newspaper headlines? Jay Leno used to do this all the time. Did you read the newspaper? So maybe you find something like this. Drunk gets 9 months in violin case. See, now that's a funny picture to me. It may not be to you, but we don't all have the same sense of humor. How about this one? Prostitutes appeal to Pope. I need a moment. Here's another headline. Panda mating fails veterinarian test. Is that in the job description? How about this? Local high school dropouts cut in half. See, they never do that again. Minors refuse to work after death. That's where I'm drawing the line, too. That's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. Chef throws his heart into helping feed the needy. And like this one, include your children when baking cookies. That's the Hansel and Gretel cookbook. Okay. You probably know about those things. So this is just a quick review. We're not going to read this all, but there's so many things that happen when you laugh, when you can be in a more positive frame of mind. And it can be the simplest thing. Even a mistake can be humorous if you quit being critical and judgmental and lighten up. Then you fix the mistake and don't worry about it. If you're going to use humor and laughter, especially at work, sensitivity at work and anywhere, humor should be laughter made from pain, not pain inflicted by laughter. A lot of us still trying to get over 7th grade, and kids can be cruel. We're not going to do that. The richest laugh is at no one's expense. Got to have that as a value when we do this kind of thing and incorporate this in our lifestyle. And an African proverb that I love, when you're thinking about telling a joke or showing us something funny to somebody or sharing some humor, please keep this in mind. The axe forgets, but the tree remembers. So we're going to use humor that pulls us together, that lifts us up, that inspires us, doesn't put us down, and doesn't divide us. So this brings me to the secret for preventing burnout. Burnout is stress taken to the extreme. And there's lots of symptoms of burnout, everything from headaches and back pains to insomnia to arthritis. Some people think that may be cancer. It's stress-related. And ultimately, the stress lasts too long, you burn out. The secret to preventing burnout is balance. And some of the things, laughter and humor, I think, are great balancers. Some things you want to keep in mind: eat right, try to get more of a plant-based diet. Be careful of what kind of additives and chemicals and things are sprayed on the foods, and you know that. So, and find the fat, carbohydrate, protein ratios that work best for you, and follow that if you can. Rest. Balance vocation with vacation. Take some time off. They found out in Japan when they were really going gangbusters. What's that? 5 minutes? 5 minutes? All right. Balance, rest. All right, I'm going to get there. Nope. Now what did I do?
Jason.
What did I do?
Hit escape.
Escape.
I need to escape. Okay. I did it. Okay, balance, exercise, attitude of gratitude, sense of humor, keep your perspective. Entries in medical charts. Now, this might be an opportunity for some humor. These were found in medical charts. She has no rigor, shaking, or chills, but her husband states she was very hot in bed last night. We're taking ourselves lightly. On the second day, the knee was better, and on the third day, it disappeared. What? Discharge status, alive but without my permission. The patient refused autopsy. How about this? She's numb from her toes down. What? How'd they write that in there? While in ER, she was examined, X-rated, and sent home. What is going on in this hospital? Rectal examination revealed a normal-sized thyroid. Whoa! When they say open wide. Whoa! Examination of genitalia revealed that he is circus-sized. Are you kidding? Mr. Barnum, I can't. And this one, patient has 2 teenage children, but no other abnormalities. I wanted to tell you to smile. It's just so important. The smile's a light on your face, shows people that your heart is home. Children laugh a lot. Kids, adults don't laugh nearly as much. We now do laughter therapy. You've heard of art therapy, you've heard of music therapy, you've heard of recreation therapy. Well, about 15 years ago, I created laughter therapy. That course, 2 days, that Patrice graduated from. We're going to be back here in January. I want to tell you about good-hearted living. This is how to prevent hardening of the attitudes very quickly. Set aside Mondays for paying compliments. It's the antidote for being critical and judgmental. You will have less stress. You'll be more stress resistant. Pay compliments. Tuesdays set aside for flexibility. That is seeing the other person's point of view if you can. Trying another way. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Wednesdays are for gratitude. Practice that on Wednesdays. Eventually you do this every day, but just to get you started, practice gratitude on Wednesdays. We say this, as you go through life, let this always be your goal. Keep your eye upon the donut, not upon the hole. That's when you're grateful. People are ungrateful looking at the hole. Oh, I ain't getting anything. Be grateful. Thursday for acts of kindness. Fridays are for forgiveness. And in good-hearted living, which is a real important program and part of our laughter therapy, weekends are for chocolate. Yes, let's hear it for chocolate. And imagine what the world would be like if people would do these 6 practices. And they will become a way of life. You start out, you got to be mindful. You got to remember, oh, what's today? Wednesday. What's Wednesday? Oh, gratitude. Okay. What things that I'm thankful for. And then, eventually it just becomes a normal way you live your life. You have more laughter, you get along better with other people. The world will be a more peaceful place. We're coming back January 22nd and 23rd. You've got the brochure. Contact me, get on the website. We'll let you know when we're coming back. If you'd like to take it, this program is CE approved through the American Holistic Nursing Association for nurses, 12 contact hours, for social workers, for activity therapists, all kinds of people. Substantive curriculum and a historical workshop. Am I right, Patrice? Historical workshop? Okay. Single greatest thought for peace of mind. And finally, I'm finishing here. For peace of mind, the single greatest thought that I've come across is called the Serenity Prayer. Most of you know the Serenity Prayer. You know the long version. And the long version says, God, grant me the serenity to change, to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, really important, the wisdom to know the difference. Stop trying to change things you can't control or change.
I know it, I'm just...
Relax, go to acceptance. Now, the short version of the Serenity Prayer. Lighten up! Thank you, folks. God bless you for all the work you do. Patrice, thank you, and Joe. Thank you, Jason, for helping us out. You guys are wonderful. Evaluations are on the table. Thank you. Thank you very much.